Hi, I'm Rick Henthorn with Acurus and Aragon. We love answering your questions, and I've created a series of videos doing that, and let's keep them coming. Send your questions to sales@indieaudiolabs.com. So we get a lot of questions in the email inbox, and one of them is asking about Class A watts. I think it was originally framed in talking about one of our legacy products, and that promised a certain amount of power in those wattages, and I'm just going to give you guys some background on what that means. So anytime an amplifier were to be in its simplest form with just a transistor that is always switched on, that would be Class A. Class AB is when you use a P rail and N rail device, which would be like a positive and negative rail, right? We rectify voltage, we make it DC, and then we have those two rails. And so we have to switch between positive and negative, and at some point, that signal crosses zero. And if you look at it as a waveform, it's going to rise to the positive rail, it's going to go down, cross zero, and go to the negative rail. And whenever those two waves cross, they kind of look like this, and if they're not lined up, that's called crossover distortion. Now, we're not talking about the crossover in your speakers, we're talking about where they cross over zero. So that crossover distortion is this. Bias fixes that, and that's why we have an AB amplifier, because it's kind of both things. It's biased a little bit in the Class A. Now, if you have more devices and the right kind of componentry, you can bias an amp a little hotter and you can have a little bit more Class A power. And so there's a wider range in which it'll operate with both devices so that there's never crossover distortion. And why that's really cool is at low volumes, let's say it's nighttime and you're trying to listen and get kind of a full sound, the amplifier that has more power that can be used to the speakers in that Class A realm will be a little bit more full sounding than one that is AB. And so with the Iridium behind me, we get about 24 watts that you can use in that Class A realm. And on the titanium stereo, it's about half, it's about 12. Again, every amplifier does this, but to a different extent. A surround AVR, for example, from whatever manufacturer could be a watt or a fraction of a watt. Class A, and then it's going to be, you know, kind of leaving A to B. That's why it's an AB amplifier. We're not doing anything with a sliding bias. It's just that every amplifier that is AB makes some wattage Class A. These make more. We have 24 output devices in the Iridium, so we can afford to bias it a little heavier in the Class A. And on the titanium, since we use one card per channel, we have 12 devices per channel. So again, you're going to get fuller sound, extremely low distortion. It makes nighttime or relaxed listening more enjoyable and more full. It also means that if you were to look at an amplifier from a practical heat standpoint, these don't run crazy hot. They won't make your room an absolute furnace, but it's kind of cool. If you put your hand on the heat sinks, it'll be warm. That brings us to another cool point. That's why we have the V. In the 80s, when we came out with these amps, they've always had that iconic V shape, because it lets you put a shelf above the amplifier. Now we have like a 4-inch effective distance between the heatsink and the shelf, even though it's only 2 inches above the amp. We do that so that we can do that high bias for you guys to give the enthusiasts the best sound and let you place it inside this cabinet if you wanted to. I have them out because I love looking at them, but you can absolutely put them in a cabinet with a reasonable amount of ventilation, like either an open back or something like that, but they can have a shelf 1.5 inches, 2 inches above them, and that is fine. And there's a lot of amplifiers out there, if they were set up like ours, they would not be happy with that if they had a normal top cover enclosed. So it's a very good design feature so that we can bring you guys that functionality. And I thank you guys for tuning in and checking it out. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. We have more stuff coming. I look forward to your comments, and please go to our website, www.acurusav.com, www.aragonav.com.